who is the more frugal between us. Charlie, who do you think is?
Well, in personal consumption, Warren is more frugal.
New things. Due to the rise of social media and the strong desire it created in all of us to keep up with everyone else's success, people are wasting more money than ever on superficial material possessions. But if we don't want our finances to be completely ruined, we need to step back and consider how we spend our hard-earned money on things we don't need. Let's turn to our favorite investing legend Warren Buffett for a second. When his child was very young, a recently married Buffett transformed an old dresser into a crib for the baby. Later, after having his second child, he ended up borrowing a crib from a friend.
If you buy things for far below what they're worth, and you buy a group of them, you basically don't lose money.
The lesson we can learn from Buffett is simple: don't buy something new if you already have something that can be repurposed or reused. And if this can't be done safely, consider borrowing or renting the item for the time you need it instead of buying it. After all, most physical possessions have a lifetime. You won't need it forever, so renting can be a much more cost-effective option. 2. Smoking. Smoking is a bad habit for two main reasons. The first is that it's bad for your health, and the second is that it's extremely expensive. Smokers, on average, live significantly shorter lives than non-smokers, and even worse. Their shorter life is also more likely to be plagued with illness and disease. Damaging your health should be the main reason you don't smoke. After all, while money can be earned back, lost years of life and compromised health cannot be reclaimed. There's a reason why Warren Buffett never smoked a cigarette in his life, even though he was alive during a time when it was much more common and normalized to smoke. A huge problem with smoking is that it quickly becomes an addictive habit rather than an occasional treat. Besides the health concerns, since this is a finance channel, let's consider how much smoking will actually cost you. If you smoke, you probably smoke several packs a month, and if a pack costs you $15, it's not hard to spend several $100s a month on cigarettes. If you had simply invested that money into an index fund returning just 7% per year, this would add up to thousands of dollars in extra income that you could have had in your pocket. Quitting is never an easy thing to do, but with strong incentives like a longer, healthier, wealthier life, it's a worthwhile challenge to pursue. Take it slow and steady, and gradually work towards quitting this dangerous habit for good. 3. Junk food. Who doesn't like some tasty snacks after a long day of work? Most American adults love tasty treats. The problem is how often they consume them. Now, since this video focuses on learning from Warren Buffett, some of my more knowledgeable viewers about Warren Buffett's lifestyle might point out that Buffett eats at McDonald's every day. But there is a difference. Warren Buffett eats McDonald's as his main meal for the day, whereas many people who eat junk food eat it on top of their regular meals. This leads to a very high amount of calories in their body, which leads to weight gain. It's essential to find balance. You don't need to deny yourself a bite of chocolate or a bowl of chips occasionally, but avoid throwing away your money. Make sure it's a treat or reward for something special and not just a regular habit. 4. They forget about themselves. At the end of the day, the only person who can spend your money and earn more money exclusively for you is you. You oversee your finances and your growth as an individual, which is why Warren Buffett, the great investor, says the best investment you can make is in yourself. Essentially, the more you know, the more you'll be able to do, and the more you'll be able to earn and save. Alex Hormozi, a well-known social media entrepreneur, refers to this concept as investing in the S&P 500, because investing in yourself will provide much larger returns than any stock market index fund. For example, you could read investment books, sign up for educational courses to learn skills from experts, or watch free YouTube videos from the Financial Vault, which you can subscribe to learn as much as possible about how to become financially independent. 5. Gambling. Have you bought a lottery ticket recently? How about a scratch card? Or maybe you played real money poker with your friends. All of these are considered gambling, and, while it may be fun, it's an easy way to lose a lot of money and can even become a serious addiction. The thrill of potentially winning a large sum of money is a pit that can cause you to spend so much money that, in extreme cases, can cause you to become homeless. If you enjoy the thrill of gambling, then make sure you only bring as much cash as you can comfortably afford to lose, and make sure this amount is a very, very tiny percentage of your savings. 6. Spending too much on restaurants. After a long day of work, the thought of coming home to a pile of dirty dishes and an empty fridge probably doesn't sound too good. That's where restaurants and food delivery apps come into the picture. Unfortunately, you will end up paying a lot more for the convenience and service than you realize. If you pay $5 for a meal you can make at home, then it's normal to spend $15 for the same meal at a restaurant. a 300% difference. Saving just $10 a day can be a huge step forward for your finances. It can be hard to find time to cook, so finding easy recipes on YouTube and using appliances like a slow cooker or a pressure cooker can help. Cook in larger batches so you can meal prep for the rest of the week, and if you find the temptation to eat out really hard to curb, then consider picking up the food yourself instead of getting a home delivery, especially if your favorite restaurants are nearby. This can easily save you several dollars per meal, which quickly adds up to hundreds of dollars per month. 7. Cancel unused subscriptions. Remember growing up during the good old days, back when most people had cable television with only a few channels? Those were simpler times. Okay, now snap out of it. Now we are in 2023 and most TV networks that used to be TV channels have now transferred to streaming services. This has many advantages, such as giving everyone more options that are tailored to their preferred types of shows and movies. But it comes at a cost. Paying for individual services like Netflix, Hulu, Plex, Disney+, Amazon Prime, and more can add up very quickly. You might find that every platform has a few things you like watching, but lacks something else. So this forces you to sign up to multiple streaming platforms just to be able to watch 5-6 different shows or web series. With all these different platforms, it can be hard to realize whether or not each subscription is actually worth the money. Think about it, if you subscribe to Amazon Prime for just one specific show, is it really worth paying $15 per month for 10 months, when you can just buy a DVD copy of the entire series for $50? The simplest way to avoid wasting money with these services is to never use automatic subscriptions. This will help you only keep the subscriptions you use because you'll manually pay for them. Another method is to ask yourself if you use a streaming service at least once a week. If you don't, then it's best to consider it an unused subscription and cancel it. 8. Not using your gym membership. With the New Year's rapidly approaching, New Year's resolutions are being prepared. According to Statistica, the top 3 resolutions for Americans in 2022 all had to do with exercise and health. The sad reality is that many people will buy a membership to better themselves, only to forget about it a few weeks later. Look, I understand that it's not easy. Exercising consistently, even when you don't feel like it, is hard. Especially if you have a busy life. So, if you have an unused gym membership, cancel it. If you are thinking of one but not sure you'll commit, remember that you don't need fancy equipment at a gym to get your heart pumping. You can simply put on a free bodyweight exercise video on YouTube and follow along. 9. Leasing new cars. The feel of driving around in a brand new car is an experience like no other, but that might be because the wallet you'd normally sit on is completely empty, as opposed to full of cash. Okay, jokes aside, the fact of the matter is that buying or leasing new cars is very expensive, especially when compared to the alternative. New cars are expensive, and leasing means that you're paying a large sum every month for an asset that's constantly depreciating in value. In other words, it's money you'll never see again. The question here is, why lease a new car when you can buy a used car that works just as well, but for a significantly lower price? If we asked Warren Buffett, he would certainly tell you that a used car is the way to go, considering that he drives a used car himself despite being one of the richest men in the world. 10. Overspending on clothes. Did you know that Warren Buffett gets his suits from a seamstress named Madam Lee? Never heard of her? Neither have I, and that speaks volumes about Buffett. A general rule is that poor people spend money on brands that we all know, so they can show off their wealth. Rich people buy from brands no one has heard of, because they aren't trying to gain attention through their clothes. It's clear that Buffett doesn't pay a hefty price tag on those suits, at least not in comparison to something like an Armani suit. To Buffett, clothes are simply to be worn, and if he looks good and feels good, there's no need to spend tons of money on them. But to be honest, given how wealthy Warren Buffett is, even if he wore a brand new Armani suit every day for the rest of his life, it would make virtually zero difference in his net worth. For all of us normal non-billionaires, there are 2 ways you can deal with overspending on clothes. First, you can simply avoid brand name clothes and shop at stores that offer high-quality fashion for cheap, like Zara. Or, if you're a brand name lover, you can rent clothes for special occasions. 11. New gadgets and devices. The rate at which technology is growing is astounding, and so is the rate at which people spend on new products every year. While it may be fun to stay up to date with the newest gadgets and devices on the market, it may be best to wait on the sidelines until you need to replace your existing device. A quick Google search can show you that a new iPhone 15 Pro Max will set you back about $2,000. Now, Imagine paying that every year on a phone that barely even changes from year to year. Imagine all the other ways you can level up your finances every year with an extra $2,000. Speaking of leveling up your finances, I recently discovered a side hustle that 99% of the population has never even heard of, and it allows me to earn passive income from home.
The biggest financial asset that you have going for you by miles is the value of your own earning power over the years. So that's really what you should focus on.
So if you want to earn an honest income online while keeping your current job, click the link in the description to learn more. 12. Drinking at bars or restaurants. The vast majority of American adults, and let's be honest, even teenagers, have had a taste of alcohol. But for most of us, alcohol is like a guest that shows up multiple times per week, unannounced. Buying drinks is an extremely easy way to spend over $100 in a single night. There's a reason why Warren Buffett doesn't drink. Not only is it harmful for health with long-lasting side effects, it is also harmful for your wallet. Since bars and restaurants have many expenses to pay, it's normal for the price of alcohol to be 3 to 4 times the amount you would pay for the same drink at a local store. To avoid overspending on alcohol, you can either drink at home before you go out and have fun, or you can find a way to squeeze it into your budget by limiting other expenses. But personally, I would recommend drinking as little as possible, not just for financial reasons, but also for health reasons. Now before I share this last tip with you, let me know in the comments below what you think poor people waste the most money on. 13. Debt from credit cards. It's easy to forget that the money you spend on a credit card is not yours, but the money that's loaned to you. Credit cards have ruined modern American society. Whatever happened to the old days when you had to work hard and actually save money to buy something you couldn't afford? In 2023, it's become normal for poor people to buy things that were meant for the rich, because the only thing standing between them and the item they want is a plastic card and a Visa machine. Remember, any money that's loaned is money that you'll not only have to pay back, but pay back with interest. For example, if you bought a couch for $1,000 with your credit card and didn't pay it back immediately, you'll end up paying well over $1,000 for the couch because of interest payments. And the longer you take to pay it off, the more money you'll lose to interest. Fortunately, aggressive debt payment plans like the debt snowball method can help you get rid of debts quickly. If you're debt-free, then focus only on using your credit card if you know you can pay your statement balance in full each and every month. And if you can't do that, you can be like Warren Buffett and Dave Ramsey and just stick to cash.